Creative iOS apps from Pixite are an integral part of my workflow, from documenting in Zinnia, logo design and assembly, to colouring in Pigment. Try a creative app today that's mobile and contextual to your unique creative process.
Hi everybody, Brienne from Pixite here with you today. Thanks for tuning in for another fun live. I have a very special feature for this Pride Month. The artist is Dinny Sidik. Her artworks are also available on Etsy. And this is just a really beautiful book that she tailor-made for us for Pride Month. So it's very special and dear to me, and I'm really happy to be able to share this with you. I kind of wanted to have a fun little environment going around me, so I put some fun prideful decorations around. So let's get started. I picked out a palette that I made a while ago, and it's unbelievable, but I counted how many palettes I have made. It came up the other day, and I have 51 made palettes. So I went back a little bit further and used one that I haven't used for a while. I made this for a grayscale drawing that I colored quite a bit ago called Peacock. And then I have one right underneath that's going to be fairly suitable for this kind of coloring I'm going to be doing too, which is the hummingbird. Excuse me. So I'll probably be going back and forth with them, and I also might use some of the Pigment palettes as well. I just wanted to also touch base on grayscale images and line color changes. So if you go to your outline button, so my palette comes up, Peacock, and it's really cool that you can change your outline of grayscale images too. Especially for Pride Month, you can really have a lot of fun just playing with color and switching up your line color. Everyone, I think, kind of thinks of it more for line images, but it really does work well with grayscale too, depending on what you want to do with it. So I'm gonna color it in just on the black, and then maybe at the end I'll play with it. Sometimes I forget at the end because I'm so into my coloring. I've said that a couple of times now and I forget to play with it. But mental reminder, when I'm done coloring it, I would like to play with the line color and see what I can come up with. Okay, so we're leaving it black for now. We'll go back to my colors, leave it there. And we're gonna get started now. I'm gonna go to my fade tool, and I'm just gonna play with some colors in the background until I get a good feel of how I want this piece to look and go. So I know I'm gonna definitely want some pinks and rainbow type colors in here. And this one is a really beautiful piece. On her shirt it says "Love is Love," and then she has some prideful hearts on her face. So I'm just trying to go with more of like a pinky kind of, especially with the hearts in the background and everything. So let's go to our bloom. Just trying a couple different colors back there. Experimenting right now, seeing how this picture is gonna go. I definitely wanna have a few colors in here. It's a pride coloring or a pride drawing, so I definitely want to have some variation in there. Don't want it to be bland. I really do like the yellow with the pink. I think that's nice. So I'm just swapping over to my airbrush now, and I'm just gonna play a little bit here. Just want to see if it looks good. No, it looks too muddy around her face like that. Maybe I'll just leave it like that for now. Just trying to think what else I could do. Let's go back to, no. Yeah, we'll do blue. Just want the orange to come up over here a bit more. There we go. Now, I really think the bright colors are going to be the best. So I'll leave the yellow quite saturated. And a really good palette when you're doing some of these pride colorings, if you really want to get a nice punch of color, because grayscale images usually work like the best with saturated bright colors. So if you really want to get some punch of color, you could always go to your neon palette. And I use this palette like you wouldn't believe. I love the neon palette. Just gonna play here. See, now I'm kind of liking the orange with the pink more than I liked the yellow, but I'll try the yellow again. It does look good kind of circling around her. I just want to make sure I like my colors in place in the background, because once I start coloring her, I'll be able to add details and stuff back there, but I'm not going to be able to change the color. No, the blue doesn't go. It's all warm colors. Looks better with the, how about purple? You know, I think I like it as is, and I'm gonna leave it and just start coloring her skin. And I have a good base back there, so I can always come back and add more details. I'll probably add some sparkles and highlight the rainbows behind her a little bit. But for now, let's just get into her skin. Don't want to think too much on it. Don't want to spend too much time worrying about it there, so. Gonna pick out a palette for her skin. Now, I've really been enjoying using red and orange undertones to create realistic skin color, or maybe even just dramatized, excuse me, skin color. So I'm gonna try that. Bring up my opacity, and even the colors and the undertones in her face already are quite nice. So I don't need to take it all away, but what I can do is add highlights. You know, I'm actually really liking her skin tone. Maybe I'll just lighten that up. So as you can see, I'm using some reds and some almost like beigey colors. And if you press really lightly with these colors, they do actually mix quite well. But I'm also going to want to highlight the skin a little bit. So it's going to be a little bit of a blending, getting the blending down just right. And I might, yeah, see, it's way too light. And that's too muddy. I really like this orange undertone. I just need to make it work. So by color matching and trying to use close to the same color, then I can kind of get the right colors blending here. I don't use traditional colors for skin tone as much anymore because I find it leaves your pictures looking a little bit flat. So I really do like to incorporate these brighter colors in the skin, and you just have to really pay attention to your blending and really just, yeah, get in there and have fun with it. but it's also kind of a trick. Like right here, I'm just having a little bit of a time just trying to find that right balance. But once you achieve that right balance, it's always like perfect usually. Oh, well, maybe not perfect, but it's unique and it turns out nicely. So I'm just playing around with some palettes until I start kind of achieving that look that I want. I almost want like a pink. I am starting to take away some of that orange because I like it as an undertone, but I don't want her skin to actually be orange. That is kind of the trick. But you don't want it to be too light either. So it's going back and forth and getting these colors to go. And it does take me a while to do the skin on most of my pictures because I do like to have, I feel like skin is such an important part of the piece. And it's just about blending those colors to get a good solid balance. So you don't have these kind of weird looking parts standing out on her. You want her to look balanced. Now, Dinny, who made this illustration, is also an amazing colorist. She does digital coloring and she also does traditional. And I love her digital. Her digital is beautiful, but she is just so unique with her traditional coloring. I love seeing what she comes up with when she does her pieces. Talented artist and colorist all the way around. So I'm getting more of the skin tone I want now. It's going to be a little bit harder to get those really bright highlights that I usually go for, but that's okay. I really want her makeup to be a reflection of prideful kind of makeup, if that makes sense, like colorful and yeah. So that's what I'm going for. It's gonna be a colorful piece, that's for sure. And it looks like she put some kind of sparkle shadow on her eyes. So we can always kind of play with that. Let's go to our glitter tool. And maybe let's try a funky color just to see. I don't know about blue. I was thinking maybe like gold. Now, glitter is very strong. So what I prefer to do is I like to put it on low opacity and then I add layers so I can control it a little bit better. Because I find it is just, if you put it on high opacity and you're doing like an area where you just want a little bit of added detail, it can really throw you off. So by putting it on a low opacity, you can layer it until you're comfortable with the color that you're creating. This would make a really good palette here. These are some really great tones for skin here. Really good tones for skin. And if you ever find that you're liking a palette that you've made, you can remake that palette by just going to new color palette and then click on each of the colors, and you can make your own palette that way, which is nice. Because when you color match, sometimes you're creating nice colors you don't even realize. So I'm just going to, I just want to get a little bit of a highlight on her ear. Her ear is looking pretty orange. I don't mind it looking a little bit orange, but I do want the ear to still look like it's got some skin color there. This is going to be a little bit of an irregular lighting skin color. I can tell you that already from the way that it's progressing. It's going to be definitely a little bit of a skin color based kind of on the lighting that I'm going to create in the background. And just follow her hints for the highlights. You can always see where the lighter parts are meant to be, and use that to your advantage. Because it'll really help you in figuring out actually the yellow color is turning out to be nice for highlighting. So really just trying to have fun with this and get these colors balanced in a way that really complements this picture. And I think I found the right highlighting color for the skin, which is what I was looking for. And I really am digging this yellow undertone. But don't be afraid to blend it and to get it just right. But yeah, I'm really liking the yellow undertone. Took me a while to find it. I found everything else just looked kind of muddy when I was trying to use the skin colors, but this, it looks like her skin's almost like a shiny kind of brimming yellow. I like it. You can always darken the nostrils a little bit. I usually do that. Oh, I'm so glad that I tried using the lighter yellow to highlight, because it just really works here. It's really balancing everything out. Let's go back to our glitter tool for a second here. Just want to get the shape I want just right. And then I'm going to put that lighter yellow that I was using for the highlight through the lid, through the middle, to create a nice little highlight all the way up. Now the trick is going to be, what color am I going to use for her lips? That is going to be the next thing to conquer here. All about just getting that right balance. Like I keep saying, it's all it is with skin, is just getting a nice balance of highlights, knowing where your light source is coming from, and just getting that nice tone in there. Now I think I'm gonna go for, I think I'm gonna go for perhaps a red lip. I just want to do one more thing before I do that. Just want to get a little bit more. I went with the glitter eyeshadow because it already looked like she had made it glittery. So I just used a darker color on behind and then highlighted it with the lighter color through the center of the eyelid, which creates a nice shimmer and a nice shine, as you can see. So lip color, that's what we were talking about. But before I do her lips, I really should color her arm. And now that I got skin colors, let's go to our recently used colors here. Now that I've got, what did I do here? I guess I got it over here. But now that I have some skin colors to color match and sort of play with, well, that's why, because I'm not an airbrush. I'm gonna do the same on her hands and her arm. I want to get it to match, and if I color her lips, it's just gonna make it harder for me to get the hand since it's resting right on her lips. So we'll do the hand and the arm first. I'm using the airbrush. I use the airbrush quite frequently for when I do grayscales. And anyone who's watched me color grayscales, I've kind of explained why, as I just find it blends very nicely. It's almost like a natural blender. It'll blend in with the colors that you use. And you can adjust the brush size to go quite low for smaller details too, which is also nice. See, now I'm putting in a darker color but blending. I want the same colors that are in her skin up here to come down into her neck and in her arm. Adding some highlights to the skin. Can always go back and add more after as well. but I like to get some preliminary ones in there, just so I can kind of have, it creates a vision for my piece as I go on. Okay. So I feel like it looks pretty good. Now, what color should her nails be? Maybe just light, because there's going to be so much other color kind of happening in here. And I do have to strengthen these eyebrows as well. If you have a light eyebrow, it's always nice to give it a little bit more color. It really does help add dimension and really helps the features stand out in the face. So if your eyebrow is looking a little bit light, don't be afraid to lighten it up. I wasn't going to, because I was going to play with the line color, and if I'm going to play with the line color, then most likely her eyebrow is going to turn pink because there's line work there, right? But we'll see. So like, let's say I go to my outline and I pick, go to my outline, pick pink. See, everything kind of turns. The eyebrow, yeah, because the eyelashes turn purple, everything kind of turns. So I'll probably end up leaving the line color black, but if you do want to change it in grayscale, you can. Okay, so let's go back to palettes. Sometimes just adding a little bit of detail to your piece goes a long way. So don't be shy and try new things, because it pays off sometimes just to, you know, go out of your comfort zone and try something new. Can really pay off. So I'm just gonna go and smudge a little bit more black in here. I'm gonna grab my white. Well, I like the way her skin is actually turning out. It's looking good. I know the skin takes a while, but it's totally worth it in the end to take your time with skin, I find. So I always do. Okay. Now lips. I'm thinking, these are I used these so much in the beginning with grayscale images from the Vintage Sweater palette, these reds. They work awesome together for creating red lips. You can still stay on your airbrush, bring it down to 1 or 2 1% brush size, even 0 could work. If you want more, bring it right down just to get in these little areas. You can use the technical pen too, so let's try that. Because you're just filling in color is all you're doing, and if you want a sharp line for the lip, you can use, definitely stick with the technical pen, and then just, I recommend you zoom in. It's the easiest way to create a nice straight fluid line. Oh yeah, I like that deep red lip, that's nice. Just want to sharpen my, I hate, well, don't hate, but I dislike when I'm coloring lips and I don't have a straight, crisp lip line. And the best way to do that is to zoom in, and then you get that great looking kind of perfect lip. Now, because I use white. I normally wouldn't use white for teeth, I would use cream. But in this case, because of the way the grayscale is, I think it's fine. Yeah, it's fine. Okay, so now back to my vintage sweater. Go to my airbrush tool. I'm going to use that lighter red, and there's another red that I also use. So I'm going to go in those highlighted areas. You can see she made them for you. So all you got to do is follow those cues for your highlights. And you get a little bit of a shiny lip happening. And if you want to, you can use the wild berry too, but if you really want to get that bright red lip, you can use the rainbow. But I always use, it's way down at the bottom here. I love this bright red for, it's in the red palettes for highlighting when I'm doing red lips. So it's not crazy for me to say that I will use the 2 reds in the vintage sweater, and then I will use this bright red from the red palette after to add some additional shine. And you see how it already looks really shiny and nice. So I'll bring down, I'm gonna bring down that red and just get in here to add a little bit even more shine. See, now it's even shining more. Now the last step would be to grab your white, and you could even do laser, but I would bring your laser all the way down for this, and just in the middle. Go where the cues are for your highlights, and you can just add that extra shine. And your lips look luscious and red and fun. Then we'll go to the airbrush tool. Gonna highlight a little bit more here. Maybe not that much. I don't like it when I highlight these lines too brightly. I've done it quite a few times, and I think it looks nicer when you just do a subtle highlighting of the lip line. I've done it very much myself, like I know I have. And when I analyze my old work, I just feel it's nicer to have more blended here and not so in your face. More natural looking. That's just my own personal thoughts on that, but I mean, whatever makes you happy. whatever, there's no right or wrong way to color. Art is a creative process and everyone has their own way of doing it, and that's what makes it so beautiful. So I'm just going over these nails again. Add a little bit of highlight to the lip. It's another way to really get some sharpness to your lip edge, because I really like a sharp lip edge, just to add a little highlight underneath it. And you could even highlight up here a little bit more. Go around the face. Add the highlight there. You can see the lines that she adds. I always just follow the cues when I'm coloring grayscale. If you follow the cues, you can't really go wrong. That's a little bit too much going up the side there, but going here, up around the chin and up the side of the face, I think that looks good with that nice highlight. Could even go over it in white with a thinner line if you really want to make it stand out. And you get that really bold highlight across the outside of her face. Now, of course, we're going to want to do something fun with her clothes. I am not 100% sure what color I'm doing her hair yet. I love doing funky hair colors. Just trying to think, because what color is her bow gonna be? What color is her hair gonna be? And then I still got to do the hearts on her face too. So I was thinking, let's take a trip. Let's take a trip to our neon palette. And let's experiment with some colors for these hearts. Now this is bright and fun, but I don't know. I'm thinking. Definitely want to have some kind of color so these stand out. And that's nice with the orange and the yellow, I find. I know usually it would be like a pride flake color, but let me see. I did purple. Yeah, you know what? I think I'm gonna keep it like that on her face, and then maybe I'll add, I like the orange hearts though. I think that looks nice with the way her makeup and everything is. And then I can even add some more glitter here, which I'm very well might do. So you can see how long it takes me to do skin. It is a process. And with all the features and everything, like the eyes, this time I didn't have to color any like the pupils or the iris or anything like that, because her eyes are closed, obviously. But it is a process doing skin. It just is, no matter what. And I always recommend taking your time on the skin. If you take your time on anything, it's the skin that really makes your picture pop at the end. and adding in those highlights in just the right place. And it just makes such a difference. Taking your time. Okay, so yeah, I'm looking at my clock here. 40 minutes for the skin. That actually isn't too bad. Probably because I didn't have to color any too much detail in the eye. Normally the skin takes me about an hour conservatively. So, hair. What are we gonna do with her hair? I was thinking of just doing it brown, only because we're gonna have so much color everywhere else. That seems kind of like underplaying this picture. Like, it seems like she should really have something fun for her hair. Maybe pink, but maybe not that bright of a pink. Maybe like, oh, I like that. Okay. So I don't even know what palette. Oh, I'm on Succulent Garden, and I'm using this purpley color here. Purpley, pinky. I want to do a funky hair color because, come on, we need lots of color in this picture. Now, when you're getting into these smaller details, bring your brush size down to 1 or 0 if you really want a crisp line. If you don't care for having a crisp line, then it's fine to leave your spread at a higher brush size. But I like to have crisp lines. Well, not all the time, but in this case, I do want one here. Now, for around the head, you might not want as crisp of a line because you want it to look more blended. So if that's the case, leave your spread a little bit larger, and then you get a more blended look for the hairline instead of having a big, you know, standout hairline. I'm second guessing this color now that I'm seeing it. I don't know. Let's see. Now, for these little hairs, I have my brush size very, very low. You could do 1 or 0. It's really hard to get hold on a sec. How far back can I go? You know what? I'm not digging it. I like her hair looking natural, and I like the colors that are already in place in her hair. I find that it looks nice. So what I'm gonna do, it just, with having to draw in the strands with that bright color, I just wasn't liking it. So let's not do it. think going light is the way to go here. Doing like a yellow to kind of match her eye makeup, and then you get to see all the strands still, and then you can highlight it nicely where she has the highlight. Just wasn't digging it, and that's okay. We try things, and if you don't like it, you're allowed to change it. I actually did like the color, just with drawing in the strands, I just wasn't too crazy about it. So I think making her hair like a nice kind of golden color is going to work a bit nicer than if you want to draw in a couple lighter strands. So I'm just playing with it here. I'm almost thinking of giving her like a glow around her. I knew that yellow was going to come into play somewhere when I was in the beginning and I was doing that yellow outline. I was thinking, there's got to be yellow in here. I just felt it, and I think this looks great. She has the light blonde hair and then the glow happening around her. It looks nice. So, don't be afraid to erase or press the back button and start over if you're not liking your results. Absolutely nothing wrong with that whatsoever. Okay, liking it a lot. Glad I went back and did her hair blonde because I think it looks a lot better and it looks a lot more natural and it just has that beautiful glow. So let's color her bow. And another reason why I changed the hair color is because I kind of wanted her bow to match her lips. And when we were doing all the pink or purpley hair color, I couldn't picture the red bow with it. Just couldn't picture it. So we're back on the vintage. You know what? Maybe I'll leave it. I'll leave it. So we're back on the vintage sweater palette and my recently used colors, just touching up the hair because there's her ponytail kind of comes out here. So just touching it up. So I'm starting with the darker red first. I'm gonna have to fix her ear color over here too. The yellow went into it. Before I forget. Not that it's a huge deal. Probably brighten up the skin a bit here. Just fixing up around her hairline here, because now I'm really starting to see all my colors. So I still go back to the skin, so it's a process. Now I'm gonna finish coloring in this bow. I feel like that's the wrong red, and it is. I like that. It is looking good. I know there's usually lots of like parades and different things going on this month, but who knows what's going to be going on with the pandemic everyone's dealing with, but we can still celebrate in other ways, and coloring is a nice way to relax and show your appreciation and support for everyone. So I'm just adding some highlights to the bow. There's my red. So as you can see, I like to layer my highlights. So you get not just like a big stark or bold highlight right off the bat, you have like this penetration of layers coming out. So it looks more fluid, doesn't look so right in your face right away. You get that lighter underneath, or the darker underneath and the lighter on top, and then you gradually build your highlights layering upwards. Makes a big difference. Just adding a little bit of it's almost the exact same process as I just displayed with the lips. I think just a little bit less is more in this case, so we'll leave it like that. Go to laser for a second. Laser is a great highlighting tool. It's just picking your battles with laser and knowing what's too much and what's just enough. Lots of times what I'll do is I'll bring down the opacity and bring up the brush size to get a more blended highlight. And then you can use it on the other end of the spectrum, low brush size, high opacity, to create really bold highlights. So it's just kind of playing with it. This is turning out really pretty. I'm really excited for this. It's looking nice. Now, her coat, I think it's gonna have to be another kind of shade of red and gold. I think that's gonna be all red and gold. I know they're not very prideful colors, but they have all the prideful colors in the background. And then like with the pink and the orange and those bright neon colors. And then we're gonna add sparkles, and it's just gonna look really glitzy, glam, prideful type look. That's what I'm gonna be going for in this one. So, why change a good thing? Let's use our vintage sweater palette again, but this time to fill, because it's a bigger area, I'm gonna use my technical pen. And I'm just gonna fill. I have to outline that special area there, but I'm just gonna fill everything first. I always get down my preliminary, most dominant color first, and then I can add in all my details and everything after. So that's exactly what I'm doing right now. And the technical pen is a good way in grayscale to lay down a lot of color in a small area, or a big area even. I should say big area mostly, because you don't get to use the fill tool, right, when you're doing grayscale. So it's a good way to really get a lot of color fast. And full coverage too, right? As long as your opacity is all the way up. See, crisp lines. If you try making the lines further out, you will notice that, like if I try to make a line out here, see how it's wiggly, but if you go in and zoom in as far as you can, you usually can make a pretty accurate straight line for the most part. And that's why I like filling with the airbrush tool as well, because it naturally blends, which kind of alleviates some of that not frustration, but just trying to get it right. See? But once you get it right, it's usually pretty good. Zoom out, check your line. Looks pretty good. Oops. I really like this red and gold combination. I think it looks pretty fabulous. And when I started out, I honestly had no clue what I was going to be coloring her as. I just knew that I was going to color her and that it would have to come to me as I go. I have a really hard time sticking to plans, so I just don't plan anymore. I just go with it. If I plan, I always end up changing it anyway. There's been a couple of times, I'm sure, if anyone's watched my tutorials, I'm like, I'm gonna be doing this, and then halfway through, I'm like, you know what? No. Change my mind. Because to me, it's an unfolding process when I color. So I can usually stick to like a basic idea, but when it comes to a solidified plan, no, not me anyway. I actually think the red is looking nice because the message on this particular illustration is love, and I think that we identify, like for instance, Valentine's Day, we all identify pinks and reds and whites, and so I think it's actually quite fitting for this piece. And then I have those beautiful vibrant colors in behind. Okay, so we got our color filled in. Oh, I missed a little spot back here. This little crook. This little crook and cranny. Now the yellow has gone into her skin a bit over here too. I'm not sure if I'm gonna keep it or not. Let's just get rid of some of it anyway. I think it's okay to have a little bit. That's the one thing with grayscale. You got to plan your pieces so you're not going over the same thing 100 times because you're coloring over it, or you know, bleed it over top or something like that. So good idea to at least have a plan of how you're going to work your image, like inward. Like I did my background first. I didn't have to do my background and color around all of this after. So it's always a good idea to at least have a plan when it comes to that. But anything else, yeah, I just kind of fly by the wind and just kind of develops as I go. But that's the one thing I do plan for sure with grayscale, 100%, is what I'm going to color first to kind of minimize my time and effort, and what's going to help the picture achieve the best look. So yeah, definitely is something to think about. And I'm just kind of getting some texture in there. Maybe not so much texture as just pushing some color around to get some highlights and whatnot. Grab that special red, but I'm gonna try and get some texture right now. Use the pastel, bring down the opacity. You can bring up the brush size. Maybe just push that around a little bit in some areas just to get a little bit of sheen and shine. We don't want to lose our message, so we want the message to stand out. So let's get some nice bright reds happening over the love is love writing. And I'm just gonna try something else here. A little bit of don't want to lose sight of saying. I want the saying to stand out. I want the heart to stand out, but at the same time I want it to be kind of muted. But I'm thinking maybe I should fill it in. So hold on a sec here. Let's go to airbrush. Thinking maybe I should fill it in. Just because you can't really see from far away that it's a heart. Now I'm going to grab my pastel again. I just really want the heart to kind of stand out. That's the point, and just want that to be a focal point. Now I'm just mixing colors, different yellows and this orange together just to create some nice kind of variance within this heart. Now I'm going to use my airbrush for filling the smaller area here. I'm going to use that same gold and I'm going to color in some of the details on her jacket. I like coloring in details like this with airbrush because it has a spread. Especially, see, I'm doing like this circular motion and it kind of spreads itself out, which is nice. And then let's do all these little dots around. What isn't it going? What is going on? Should have lots of battery in my pencil. Maybe it's just a response time thing happening, a little bit glitchy. Usually never happens, so I'm sure it's just something like that. So all these little details that you have to fill by hand when you're doing grayscale, they can take some time. But totally worth it in my opinion. Pastel. Just gonna blend that little blemish out there. Pastel's really great for blending. I like superb blending tool. Let me try this bright. I would say it's more of a textured blend, the pastel, but lots of people I don't think of that tool as a blending tool, and it really works well as a blending tool. Wondering if I should add some gems in the middle. Oh yeah, that looks nice. And then maybe I'll just do, I was gonna color like this collar outline. I was gonna color it in yellow, but I think I'm just gonna add some bright highlights to it with the bright red. And maybe add a little bit of white in there too. And here, I just want to get more definition going around this hairline here. I notice it's looking a bit yellow. So that looks really, really nice so far. I'm getting close to the finish line here, but I'm not gonna rush it because there's some fun little added details that I would like to add. I'm gonna go to my laser right now, and I just wanna add a little bit of shine around here. Just add a little bit of added shine here. I don't know, maybe I just a little bit of shine, but not too much for the stones, I think. Just keep it very Now this is where I'm going to have a little bit of fun. Just adding a little bit more shading in a couple areas so it looks a little bit more defined. I'm just fixing up the skin a little bit because now I can really see all my areas now that everything's pretty much colored and inputted. So I'm just kind of going around, straightening out anything I notice is a little bit off. I always do this kind of near the end or at the end of my pictures. I go and straighten out and add little details, and it's honestly my favorite part of the coloring process. So now, and I can still fix things as I go if I notice anything, but now I'm going to use this gold. I'm going to go down to What am I going to use here? I'm just going to use plasma or laser. I think I'll use the laser just because it's more accurate. I'm going to bring down this a little bit here. I'm just going to play with some glitter here. She has this beautiful glittery type background happening. I dragged my hand across. You got to be careful when you're using any tool that you watch where your hands are, because it's very easy to drag it across your picture. And if you don't notice it right away, you only get to go back so many times with the back button and then you have to fix it. Not a huge deal, but it can be a pain in the butt. Gonna add these little glitters around her. Can put a little bit in here. Change up the size a little bit. A little bit on the face. Add a little bit more highlight to the lid of the eye. Just want to fix this color of her jawline here. A little bit, I want that orange undertone, but it's just a little bit stronger and unblended here. So I'm just going to blend that a little bit here. That's better. This turned out really beautiful. I'm really excited about this. I really am enjoying coloring it, and I'm really happy with how it turned out, and I hope you guys are too. I'm still have a couple little details to do here. Again, I had no clue what my colors were going to be at the beginning, and it just kind of worked out. I did want to do something with those rainbows back there. I wanted to add a little bit more light, so let's try the airbrush just to add a little bit more. Maybe not, maybe more yellow. No. Sometimes it's nice to just leave things. I do want to try one more thing. Maybe I'll use the laser tool actually. No, I don't like it. Nope, nope, nope. Try the airbrush. No, I like the background just kind of being there, but faded into the background. I think it looks better. Honestly, I do. The only thing I could do if I wanted a little bit more is just add maybe a wide spread of a little bit of yellow and lighter yellow. Back to the laser. Maybe add that little bit of glow in behind her. I'm just kind of blending it now that I got the line in there, so I'm just kind of going over it and making it not so much of a line, but more of a glow to it. And I really like this. I think it turned out really pretty. Just going to do a couple more, maybe dots, a couple bigger ones. I don't really like it on her clothes. Just putting some closer sparkles together so it looks more explosive. Like it's more condensed towards the start of the glow and then kind of disperses. You can even use the laser to highlight hair. I've done that many times, or skin. But when you do those types of highlights, usually it's a bigger brush size and then low opacity. And I'm just looking it over to see if there's anything else that I want to do. I really kind of like it the way it is, and I think I'm going to leave it. Alright guys, thanks for joining me today. This is Brienne from Pixite. I'm super stoked and excited for this new book, Pride. It was illustrated, again, if you're just joining in or tuned in late. It's by Dinny Sidik. You can find her works on Etsy, and she's just really talented, and this is going to be a fantastic, beautiful book, and I hope you're as excited for it as I am. Take care, everybody, and have a great day. Bye.